All right. Hello, all you sports fans out there in podcast land, and welcome once again to another edition of Babbling Brooks, your new favorite podcast, where I, your host Brooks, try to bring you some of today's sports news with just a little twist of my point of view. Happy hump day, all y'all out there listening. Hope you are having or have had or will have had a wonderful Wednesday or whatever day it is when you listen to this. Wednesday for me, it's my Saturday, so you got taking it easy, lazy day off. Got to sleep in slightly, even though I still was up before 8 o'clock in the morning. At least I didn't have to be anywhere like a work at 8 o'clock in the morning. So nice lazy day for Brooks here. Figured talk a little bit with y'all about the Hawks. Hadn't had a lot of time to talk about the Hawks. So, of course, touch a little bit on the Braves as we go along as well. Not really any new Panthers stuff. I looked on there, I was looking at some news earlier. Not really much going on there. Just waiting to get our ass kicked by the Dolphins probably. Talk more about the NFL more than likely tomorrow or Friday. Do my best on that. Do a preview of the week to come. But the Hawks did have their first preseason game of this season outside, of course, the Summer League, which is like preseason kind of thing. And they got the win, 108-107 over the visiting Cleveland Cavaliers. Of course, the starters for either team not playing hardly any or none at all for the Hawks in the second half, and very little for the Cavaliers in this one. But the Hawks getting the win thanks to Trent Forrest. He was our leading scorer with 13 points. In 11 he scored that 11 last points out of 11 of the last 22 points for the Hawks in this one, including a go ahead and then a tying shot after the Cavaliers responded with their own go ahead, and he got fouled in the process, so hits the and one, and that ends up being the winning shot as the Hawks get the stop on defense. Definitely some encouraging things to take away from this game. Can't get too deep and read too much into it because, number one, it is just preseason. Your starters aren't going to play a lot. And also, this was the game Bogdanavich and Deandre Hunter both were resting for this one. And Quinn Snyder says do not read into that. And it is just something he was going to do. There's 5 preseason games. You don't need your starters playing in every one of them. I still would expect Deandre Hunter to be the starter at small forward this season. A lot of people, I've heard him mentioned as a potential power forward starter, and he doesn't. He's listed as 6'8", but I did not realize that. I thought he was more like 6'7", maybe even 6'6". I mean, I've never been close enough to see in person really, but it just seems like it's not like a big 6'8". So I like him better as a small forward. He is one of the Hawks that has been mentioned in some trade talks. Same with Bogdanavich. I wouldn't mind seeing Bogdanavich traded. I feel like I'd prefer him traded over DeAndre Hunter because it could be like a sell high moment for Bogdanavich. And it does seem like his three-point shooting is trending down. Like, he still had his moments last year, but it just didn't seem like he was hitting them in quite the way he used to, like in previous seasons. And DeAndre Hunter still, I believe, has a lot of potential. He's still kind of working towards reaching that. Been the chaotic sort of coach-wise. And now Quinn Snyder will have the opportunity to insert his system fully. He's got his own coaching staff this season, taking over late last year when they fired Nate McMillan. But he still had Nate McMillan's staff, and wasn't enough time. You can't really, down the stretch of a regular season, just start trying to change stuff that drastically, that dramatically with how you run the team. And he's got his different coaching style than Nate McMillan. Every coach, for the most part, is going to be different and figuring out how they do it. So hopefully he can put it together for this team. I was really hoping to work out with Nate McMillan, but it was obvious his time was up and it was time for him to go. He did not want to be there, and maybe it's dealing with the egos, as John Collins said. But I still like to think this team's got a lot of potential. Could be a fun season, even though it's not looking like everybody's kind of ruling us out already. When you got Damian Lillard going to the Bucks, team up with Giannis, Drew Holiday ended up in Boston, so along with Kristaps Porzingis. The issue with Porzingis, of course, is can the dude stay healthy? Because they'll be in trouble. Not going to have the depth of Robert Williams III. You're not going to have Marcus Smart, who is in Memphis now. But still, definitely the Drew Holiday makes up for losing Marcus Smart, you would think at least. Pretty damn good shooter, and Drew Holiday can also play some really damn good defense, which is what Milwaukee will be missing. And so it's looking like these are the teams to beat in the East, but that doesn't guarantee they'll be there at the end. Remember a couple years ago, we was like, oh man, the Nets, the Lakers, they're going to dominate everyone. It's not even going to be close. And it didn't happen. Russell Westbrook ended up, he's gone now. Ended up with the Clippers. Lakers, got a lot of different stuff, so they're looking good. But, the Nets are just completely blown up from that point. We thought for sure KD and Kyrie, James Harden, they'd figure out a way to do some shit, and just hasn't happened. Everybody's gone. KD out there in Phoenix now. He's not the East problem anymore. But just because all these other teams made these splashy moves and the Hawks didn't really change a lot other than trading John Collins, I still don't like that trade. It could end up working out well for Jalen Johnson or Sadiq Bey. I think Johnson probably should. I would pick him as of now to be my starting power forward, just size and lengthwise. I'd like to see him grow as a 3-point shooter and keep getting better at defense. But he's flashed a lot of potential. I hate to use that word so much. But that's all the NBA regular season is at this point. It's all potential. So I believe the Hawks could be one of those dark horse teams that could surprise some people. Maybe a sleeper team, if you will. Because nobody's going to... This is when the Hawks have thrived. Remember a couple years ago when we went to the playoffs and beat the Philadelphia 76ers. We broke Ben Simmons. Hopefully he'll be unbroken this year. Because it's better for the league when the better players are playing better. You want to see everybody out there playing healthy. But in that particular case, we broke Ben Simmons. We broke the Philadelphia 76ers. And we're almost, Trae Young got hurt. We might have been able to get into the finals that year. We were competing with the Bucks. Team ended up winning it all. But the thing with that season is we were surprised. Nobody saw it coming. And then after that, the expectations for last year were so much higher, which made last year so disappointing. Really, both seasons. So we'll see what happens, though. I like... being a dark horse team or a team that people aren't focusing on, a team that people are writing off. That seems to be when my teams do better, especially the Hawks and the Panthers. And maybe the Panthers will turn it around. Now that everyone has given up on their season, they'll somehow beat the Dolphins. Unlikely, but possible. Just saying what, but I think the Hawks are more likely to be a surprise team in the NBA than the Panthers are going to be a surprise team this year in the NFL. Maybe next year, but we could still technically turn it around. It's a very, very long shot, but crazier shit has happened. But Hawks showed a lot of good stuff in this one. Let's kind of take a look at the box score. Already mentioned Trent Forrest was the leading scorer in this one. Trae and Dejounte not playing, like I said, only playing the first half. So 16 minutes for Trae. Only had 12 points. He was playing a little bit off ball, doing a little bit of different stuff. 5 assists in only 16 minutes, pretty good. 2 rebounds, both of them on defense. And also, even more impressive, 3 steals in just one half. If we can see that kind of stuff from Trae Young, consistently through the regular season, then this team is really, really going to have potential to shake some shit up in the NBA Eastern Conference. Especially DeJounte Murray, if these two can really figure out how to play off each other. That was the issue last year. It's tough to learn how to build when you're two guys who are used to playing on ball, trying to figure out how to play off ball and, work and complement each other. And maybe Quinn Snyder will be the coach to kind of unlock that. And combine the fact with the fact that they had a whole season of playing together now. So that makes a difference. And the chemistry and the cohesiveness of this team. So great to see both of them. DeJounte only ends up with 6 points in this one, but he has a steal, 3 assists, and 2 rebounds. Not great shooting for either one. 2 of 8 overall for Trae Young, including that only one of those was a 2, so 2 of 7 from 3. But he's 6 of 6 from the free throw line. So getting to the line and converting those free opportunities. DeJounte Murray, only 2 of 7, but he's 2 of 4 from 3, so 0 of 3 from 2. Bunch of numbers there. But encouraging first half. Clint Capella, 2 of 3 from the field. Definitely looks like him and Trae's connection still there, still strong. Looking like not trading Clint Capella going to be the right move. Still a possibility something happens with Pascal Siakam. I just think that ended up giving up too much, and you got that chemistry with Capella and Trae Young that I think can really gives us a better chance to win now than if we move on from Capella and just start Okongwu at center. I think Okongwu is still maybe a year away, maybe next year be ready to do it. But he's come a long way, and even he hit a couple threes in this game too. Okongwu did, so he ended up with 12 points off the bench, 2 of 3 from 3. So that's pretty nice when you got your big guy and potentially center. It's like and he can hit threes too, and keep improving and learning from Capella with the middle game. It does give us a little more versatility. Not quite as strong a presence in the middle of Capella yet, but he's only an inch shorter than him, so it's not like a big difference. Okongwu is the same height as Bam Adebayo, so he could still develop. I think he still could be our starting center of the future. But I wouldn't be surprised if you throw him out there in maybe some big lineups, not as a starter, but just at different points in the game. You could have the opportunity, especially the way he can hit threes now. You can have him and Capella in the game at the same time if you want a large lineup. That's a possibility. You still got Bruno Fernando there too, who's listed as a power forward, but he's a center. Same with Okongwu, but Okongwu, I guess it's more of a height thing with, I don't know. 6'9" is still a center. He can be. Jalen Johnson had 7 points, getting the start at small forward in this game. Didn't hit any threes, so that's kind of disappointing. Same with Sadiq Bey. He was 0 of 3 from downtown, and that's supposed to be one of his strengths and one of those things that I believe would give him a very good chance to get into the starting lineup. But he's got to hit some of those threes, man. I still think Jalen Johnson, I like him as the starting small forward. You get Deandre Hunter, you keep him in there at small forward, and then Bey can come in relief for either one of those. You got AJ Griffin, can play that small forward as well as potentially being a shooting guard off the bench. So nice the versatility you get with AJ. And he played 23 minutes off the bench in this game. Shot 4 of 10, 1 of 4 from downtown. So ends up with 11 points, double digits, not too bad. You'd like to see that percentage a little better. But everybody's kind of working the rust off right now. So you don't want to get too up or too down when it comes to what's happening in the preseason, especially the first game. A lot of time to get going. I'm curious. There's a lot of stuff to see, who ends up making this lineup, because you can have 15 guys on your roster for the regular season. I believe it's the 23rd that they got to have as the deadline for getting down to the right size, and really only 8, maybe 9, probably 8 guys, some occasionally 9, are gonna get regular play. So you're gonna have guys, like draft picks Kobe Buffkin, Mo Gay, Seth Lundy, undrafted free agent Miles Norris. Are these, and even Trent Forrest, shooting, really good shooting guard in, some moments. He's on a 2-way contract. Which one of these guys are going to stick with the team, and which ones are going to go down to College Park, play for the Skyhawks, where they can play every day and not going to be against the same type of competition, but it gives you some chance to develop and grow your game. You get a little comfort going, get a little momentum, because if you're just sitting on the bench, there's going to be limited minutes really available. Because even with the point guard, people are wondering how much Patty Mills could end up playing. He's a veteran guy, but a lot of times they end up staggering Trae Young and Dejounte Murray, where Trae will be the main point guard and Dejounte will take over when he comes off the court, and then Trae will come back on. We looked at, Aaron Holiday did not play last year a lot. Not meaningful minutes, at least, as the season went on. So it could be similar with Patty Mills, but he brings a little more. I think he's a little more dynamic player than Aaron Holiday. And he's a veteran, and we've been around a long time. We also got Wesley Matthews, which confused me because I thought I was getting him confused with Garrison Matthews, who I forgot we still had. But could do, guys that can contribute and do some stuff. They're gonna need some guys off the bench, but you also guys like Mo Gay, who is really shown some potential. Said that a lot. Only had 2 points in this one, but like in some of the other games, and you're hearing a lot of good things about him in practice. But he's only been playing the game for 4 fucking years, y'all. Like, he started playing them when he was 16 years old. Like, he hadn't played basketball before that. He's only 20 years old. So he's going to be someone who maybe in the long run could definitely be a very fun player to watch with the potential he brings to the table, but probably going to get some time there at College Park to keep growing his game. Because you're still close enough, you can learn from the big squad, but he's somebody that definitely needs to play on a regular basis to really keep building. Because he's had some pretty big, significant like jumps in his output between like 1 year to the next, like in college. So if that growth continues here in a couple years, it could be dangerous. He's athletic, he's tall, he can play power forward or center. Been mostly at power forward so far. But he could be like a center coming off the bench next year after that. But this year, probably going to spend a lot of time in College Park. Same with Trent Forrest, so maybe he'll be able to earn himself an opportunity. The Hawks are pretty deep at the guard position right now, though, so it might not going to be a lot of minutes. I'm sure he'll probably be like, he's got 2-way contracts, so he'll probably be back and forth throughout the year. I would expect probably going to spend a decent chunk of time at College Park. But somebody you don't mind coming off your bench showing in this game. But of course it is he's a backup going against other backups. So it's going to be different in a regular season game. So probably a lot of time there down, with the club. Kobe Buffkin, I would expect the same. He was 18 minutes in this one at 4-11. Only 1 of 6 from 3. So he had 9 points. But had 4 fouls, so about almost half the amount of fouls as points. And he's got another guy. We're going to use this a lot. This is the episode about potential. So Kobe Buffkin's got that potential, but he is someone most people expect probably going to start the year down there at College Park, give him a chance to run the offense. I would think him and Trent Forrest could be a lethal backcourt combination for the G League. Seth Lundy had 8 points in this one, some clutch threes down the stretch. He was 2 of 2 from 3. 3 of 3 overall in only 8 minutes. So he's someone, showing he can contribute in small batches like that, could be somebody they put on the bench. Probably spend some time in College Park just to get some time in, like actually playing, but could be a valuable piece coming off the bench because some of those guys got to be there to play a few minutes here or there. And he'll be like, why not me? Some of those scores are with AJ 11 points, Okongwu had 12, Trae Young with 12. Sadiq Bey only 9. Jalen Johnson, Clint Capella both had 7 in this one. Clint Capella, though, 10 rebounds. Jalen Johnson had 7. I think that really helps his odds at power forward, especially if he can get that three-point shooting up. You got somebody can grab rebounds and hit threes. I think it would be big there. Young, he's athletic. He's got a little more length than Sadiq Bey. But Sadiq Bey does play bigger than his size. Like he's a big 6'7". He's got I don't know if it's coming from the Pistons. He got that bad boy left over. They had the bad boys, and they of course had the Wallaces, Rasheed, and Ben, like known for being like a tough kind of vibe there in Detroit, where Sadiq Bey coming from previously after playing there, coming over in the trade last year. He had 6 rebounds. So I think him and Jalen Johnson could end up seeing the bulk of the time at power forward. Because either one can play either forward position. So whichever you're going to see lineups with both of them out there at times as well. But I still think Deandre Hunter, unless something happens with him, will be the starting small forward. And I'm leaning towards Jalen Johnson as a starting power forward. Of course, Clint Capella is starting at center, and Trae Young and Dejounte Murray forming the starting backcourt. Then with Okongwu, AJ, maybe Patty Mills coming off the bench, and one of the other guards, either Lundy or Trent Forrest, I would think. Maybe Wesley Matthews. He's got a lot of experience. Could be somebody that gets some time in there as well. And a lot of the other guys probably, going to be down there in the G League. Fernando, going to be there to play, but he'll be on the roster and get some minutes here or there, but not going to be. It could be a lot of games where he doesn't play at all. Because, some coaches use that short rotation where they got like 8 guys playing. Not usually going to be more than 9 unless it's a blowout one way or the other. But this team could be fun to watch. Definitely need to look at the schedule, start picking out some games to try to go to. I think it's going to be a fun NBA season. what the Suns are going to be able to do, what the Lakers, Warriors going to do. Now they got Chris Paul there. The Lakers, all the moves they made in the offseason. Austin Reeves had a breakout season last year, got paid. Is he ready? We'll see what he can do now, if they can keep it up. And, of course, in the East, man, the arms race between the Bucks and the Celtics, 76ers, hoping they can still compete, keep Joel Embiid happy. The Heat, Jimmy Butler going emo. And just because they didn't get Dame don't mean they can't win, because Dame and Jimmy have shown they can do some stuff. And they might not be done making moves either. What's going to happen? Interesting to see in Memphis. Ja Morant serving a suspension. But then you got Derrick Rose, Marcus Smart helping tide things over, and both could be great playing alongside and behind him as well. Derrick Rose, all his experience, especially as long as he's been around this league, could be maybe, not say mentor, but something along the lines of that maybe Ja Morant needs. The veteran president, somebody like Marcus Smart too, been up there playing for championships with the Celtics. Defensive Player of the Year last year. Now the Grizzlies have the two most recent NBA Defensive Players of the Year, Jaren Jackson Jr. and Marcus Smart. So it makes it easier to deal with missing Ja Morant for those 20 games or whatever. And when you get him back, him and Marcus Smart can kind of slide over and be more of a defensive guy because he can score and he can play some damn good defense. And see, next up for the Hawks, they play tomorrow night against the Grizzlies. Grizzlies are coming to town. See how they end up looking. But I'm excited to see what these Hawks can do, man. It's going to be tough. But I feel like when our team's not being talked about is when it feels, like something is going to happen then. People start to, discount you, not think about you as much. You sneak up on them, surprise them. The steel chair. Not literally, of course. A figurative steel chair of victory. And one thing I was writing down too, I was looking at our future draft picks because I was reading at least Pascal Siakam trades, and when I was talking about trading our 2028 first round pick for that, as well as was it Bogdanavich and someone's, I can't remember. Anyway, I don't know if we need to be trading any draft picks away right now. If anything, we trading people to get draft picks, but I don't want to be giving up and trying. We're not going to get any first round picks for what we have really right now, unless you package multiple players together. But as of now, thanks to the Dejounte Murray trade as well as others, next year the Hawks have their own first round pick next year, and maybe Sacramento's if it's outside the top 14. It's 1 through 14 protected. I can't even remember which trade that was. That was a couple of years ago. And then also a second round pick, but it's Miami's pick and it's protected 31 through 50. And then 25, 26, and 27, the next 3 years after next year, the Hawks only have their second round pick. No first round picks in those years. So we don't have our own first round pick after next year until 2028. I guess this would be the year to lose. But don't do it. But we'll see what these guys can do. But I think Trae and Dejounte, shooting is going to get better for everybody. I would think this is very, very early, the first game of the preseason. Guys are still, working out some kinks, kind of shake off some rust. So like the Braves did against the Phillies in Game 2, finally in the 6th inning. So I would think the shooting will get better. We're going to see a lot more threes overall. It's kind of Quinn Snyder's style. You see that with Okongwu even shooting threes. Maybe we'll see Capella with some, probably not, but that'd be kind of neat. Main thing is he can keep grabbing them rebounds and putting it back in the hole. We'll be all right. Especially, I do believe this Trae Young and DeJounte Murray pairing is going to be better this season because they've got that whole year of playing with each other, playing off each other, knowing each other, practicing together. I think that's going to make a difference. And you're going to see more cohesion. The flow is going to be better. You'll be a little bit more smooth, hopefully. Because I don't know, man. I'm not that excited. Quinn Snyder, I'm trying to get myself excited about just because he had, he's success there with Utah, but not the ultimate success. They did have trouble getting over the hump, but maybe that's because he had Rudy Gobert. Some compare Capella to him. Gobert Defensive Player of the Year a couple years ago, so also kind of helped start COVID in the NBA at least. COVID origin conspiracy featuring Rudy Gobert rubbing microphones. we'll see what these Hawks can do, though, man. And going to be a fun NBA season regardless, even if they don't. But I didn't get to watch any of the game. Went and got some Indian food with my friend that's in town and another friend. But I did catch a little bit. I watched a little bit of the Golden Knights game. I watched part of the first period. But the breaks in between periods are so long, and I started getting tired. It was like 11 o'clock before this game started. I was like, yeah, I'm not staying up till 1 a.m. to watch this. But they were already up 2-0. I'm like, they're going to win this game. And they did. Ended up being 4-1 over the Kraken. Golden Knights, we're not going to lose at home on the night. They raised up last year's championship banners. One of those goals, though, was the Kraken hit their own end. I was watching it. I was like, man, even my untrained eye can tell how bad that. I was like, wait a minute. That's the wrong goal, motherfucker. Trying to do one of those things where they go around, sweep around behind the goal. And instead, he hit it, and it went right off Marchessault, one of the guys on the Knights' stick, and it went in. But, Marchessault's like, I'll take it. I'll take the credit for it, but thank you. What else is going on in the NBA? Apparently, there was a matchup the other day. It was Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren. Future of the, a lot of people talk about it, one of those future of the NBA matchups. Holmgren was drafted last year, but was out the whole season after getting injured in one of those pro-ams. I think it was the one in Seattle. It seemed like he bulked up a little bit in his time injured, and Wembanyama, obviously, the number one pick out of France. Tall guys, super lanky-ish, that can do shit you wouldn't expect from guys their height. The handles, the three-point shooting, like about to put the league on notice, it looks like. It'd be a fun time to be a basketball fan, man. Just like growing up in the 90s, man. So glad I got to grow up in the 90s because the NBA was just, I got to watch Jordan, Iverson, Shaq, all of their peaks. So Kobe, the start of his career. All these incredible players, man. Like the 96 draft, I can see the start of Vince Carter's career, and then I got to see the end of it in person. I saw his next to last NBA game when right before COVID, I was there when it was against the Hornets, I believe it was. And then he played against the Knicks. I remember they put him in at the end, tried to get some more points because they realized, the season's probably going to get canceled. This will probably be the last game. But I'm really glad I got to watch him. He's a lot of fun. And then obviously I got the Braves in the 90s. Now the Braves try to do one up on the 90s and get championship number 2. And now both, the NBA, I think, is hitting a really fun time. You got Anthony Edwards showing what he can do recently in Minnesota. They're probably going to keep getting better. Players like Scoot Henderson trying to, take over there in Portland with Dame gone now. The Pelicans, man, the former Hornets, could be a fun team to watch as too. If Zion can be healthy, him and Brandon Ingram, C.J. McCollum, Grand Theft Alvarado coming off the bench, the Georgia Tech player. I can't say graduate. I can't remember if he did or not. Be a fun time to watch basketball, man. I think it will Dame teaming up with Giannis. What's that going to look like? Like how many points are those two going to combine for? And will the rest of the team be able to make up for it defensively and in other ways? I definitely think it'll be a fun year. And before we go, just talk about some of the albums that came out this week. I'll highlight some that I think y'all should be listening to. One is there's been some singles off of it. And it was available in other ways, but now it's officially out there for everybody on streaming. The album is War Dire by Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist. I've been listening to Earl Sweatshirt. I'm early on, coming up with Tyler, the Creator, Odd Future, all those. Loved the Odd Future stuff early on. It was something totally different and fun to watch all their careers change over the years. Earl Sweatshirt always puts out quality stuff. And Alchemist, obviously, if you listen to hip-hop, you know the fuck Alchemist is. Great producer going back way, been around a long time. Still dropping hot shit. And what I really love about this is like the sampling. Because it's just like really cool using different like dialogue from plays and movies and stuff. And weaving it together very well. Like some songs that really stand out to me. Century featuring Mike, who also just did an album with The Alchemist, is really good. You should check that out as well. Heat Check, the next song, really cool. And another one, The Caliphate, which has Vince Staples. And the final song, Free the Ruler. But the whole album definitely worth a listen. It's one of those albums that's definitely worth, cue it up, listen to the whole thing. You don't need to skip around. Kind of I like listening to the whole album. It's fun doing track at track, but I also enjoy listening to the whole albums because it gives you a full story more. Like you get the whole thing, especially with these when you can tell it was made as an album. Because sometimes you'll have artists that don't even really put out albums anymore, especially with streaming. It's just a collection of songs that may not really fit together. But like some, Alchemist feel like really good at kind of weaving a story, connecting it all. And another album that came out, some hip hop that I've been listening to is the El Camino is a rapper member, affiliated with Griselda, Black Soprano family. I've heard of him through listening to Benny, and he actually was part of the Griselda tour. He was out there, mostly sort of hype man-ish kind of stuff, helping out. But it's kind of cool. He's very, very good rapper. There's an album called They Spit on Jesus, and very cool. Just like, hey, they spit on Jesus, like the fucking savior. Like, of course they're gonna give me shit. So it's kind of a cool album. Black Soprano family on it throughout. Benny the Butcher, his label, and anything Griselda affiliated, I'm there for. I'm listening to that shit. They even have Inspected Deck on a track too, because the tracks I would feature off this one, of course, the title track, the opening track, They Spit on Jesus. A couple tracks later, you get Victory with Inspected Deck, which is a great get. Really good job. He's in Czarface with 7L and Esoteric, and they just released a new single, which I think means a new album's on the way. It's called You Know My Style. Definitely worth listening to. Never Gonna Change, another song that I would really say listen to off the Black Soprano El Camino album. And The Best of Me, the closer. And John R. Miller, some of my folk stuff I'm listening to. New album, my favorite song on this one is Conspiracies, Cults, and UFOs, a fun little song. And A Savage, an artist I hadn't actually heard of. This guy used to be in the band called the Parquet Courts, which I've heard of, but I don't know if I've actually ever heard. Somebody was playing this stuff at work the other day, one of my coworkers, over the Bluetooth speaker, and I'm like, dude, what is this? Who is this music? This is cool. It just kind of hit me, man. And he's like, oh, it's A Savage. I was like, A Savage? And every time I say A Savage, people are like, the rapper? I'm like, no, that's 21 Savage. This is just A Savage. It does sound like a rap name, but it's not like A Savage is A period, like an abbreviation, or like an initial Savage. And it's called Several Songs About Fire. And it's kind of fire, if I would say, in a good way. Hurtin' or Healed. The opening track is my favorite for sure. But Thanksgiving Prayer is also a really good song. And really the whole album, definitely worth a listen. I need to listen to more of his music because he's got another album as well that had come out. Definitely some good shit. And another album I enjoyed was Pro Dillinger and Snotty. Did an album called The Steiner Brothers. And y'all know how much, or you should at least if you pay attention. I love some wrestling, especially 90s wrestling. Another great thing about growing up in the 90s is the peak of wrestling. NWO, D-Generation X, and all that shit. But hey, man, I'm going to get out of here because this is my day off. I want to take it a little bit easy. Now, trying to get closer to 30-minute episodes, I feel like it's a little bit easier to digest and listen to than a whole hour of me just blathering on and on and on. So, you get these little episodes, and maybe sometimes even shorter ones I'll work on. And it's hard to limit the babble. You know how it is. Or maybe you don't. I don't even know how it is some days. But hey, have a great day. Go listen to some good music. Enjoy some good weather. It's not supposed to rain here in Atlanta till 6. So get outside. Wherever you're at, if you can get outside, get outside. Listen to music. Read a book. It's okay to watch TV too, but we gotta remember. I'm saying this to myself as much as y'all gotta balance that shit out. You can't have too much just sitting at that screen. Like I'm sitting at this screen talking into my laptop. You got to stay connected, but it's okay to disconnect. Close the laptop. Put down the phone. Pick up a fucking book. Y'all heard a library? They'll let you read books for free, y'all. For free. Books. In Atlanta, we got 12 branches with the Fulton County Library to choose from. You get books from any of those libraries sent to the closest library to your house. This is not an ad for libraries, but libraries are awesome. Libraries are important. Don't let them go away. Because you got knowledge is one of the most important things. Being aware, knowing what the fuck is up as much as you possibly can. And that's my philosophizing for the day. And I'm going to get out of here. Hope y'all have a great day. Come back more. I'm going to try to do an episode tomorrow morning as well. Should be able to talk about what hopefully will be a Braves win. Playing at 5:07 today. As of now, there is still no announced starter. My guess is Bryce Elder, with A.J. Smith-Shawver ready to go a couple innings in relief. But it's possible they do the opposite of that. But I feel like Bryce Elder, you're going to go with a little more of the experience as the starter and hope that he locks it down. And I do believe the Braves offense has awoken now that they've shaken off them cobwebs and they got rid of the rust. They're ready to hopefully finish these Phillies off. I'm totally cool with them finishing it off up there. That'd be great. See us finish the series by winning 2 in Philadelphia. Celebrate on their home field again. Hopefully. We don't want them celebrating on ours. That's for damn sure. But hey, man, hope you all have a great day. Come back for more Babbling Brooks tomorrow. We'll talk about the Braves, talk about the NFL, look ahead at the new week coming on, see what's going to happen with that. But tune in or whatever, subscribe on Spotify so you don't miss a babble, baby. And that's Babbling Brooks signing off. Peace out.